This is our normal time when we'd be having a sermon, but today's a little bit different. We are lay-led, and I'd first like to thank Mary Carter-Vale for taking the majority of the words right out of my mouth, because I had a short introduction prepared, but truly, you hit everything that I was going to say. So I echo everything that you said, and I think that gives us extra time to do the nuts and bolts of what today is going to be about. We're going to give several committee chairs a brief moment to introduce themselves, describe what it is their committees do, and let us know if their committees could use some help. Because as Mary said, as we gradually reopen, we're going to need more hands. I'd like to begin by introducing Rin Corbet.
Good morning, all. I am Rin, the chair of the Social Justice and Action Committee. This morning, I received a spam email from Michael Moore, the activist filmmaker, entitled, "Where is Our Insurrection?" referring to the events of January 6th. And I will shamelessly paraphrase from that email in my remarks now. So in his radical way, Michael Moore makes the case that we libs are jealous of the radical right because they know how to fight, how to stand up for the courage of their confusions. He asks why we haven't stormed the Capitol nonviolently, carrying, instead of Confederate, our rainbow peace flags to say no more to the old white guys. Yes, people like me, some of the people most afraid of change. But thanks to Mary and others, as we know, with our open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands, change does not have to be fearful. In fact, it can and does make life truly authentic, if not joyful. Last week, as the Republican politicians in Texas declared their ownership of the reproductive organs of all women in Texas, we, the majority, did not rush to Austin and nonviolently encircle the state capitol building, take down the Texas flag, and refuse to leave until they removed their hands from the bodies of the 173 million American women they wish to control. We are just months away from the Supreme Court doing just that. The extreme right will not only force the majority gender to give birth by edict, to make women reproductive slaves against their will, they and their fascist minority will continue to eliminate voting rights, suppress the vote of Black and Hispanic Americans, force the poor to work for $7.25 an hour, force our students to be saddled with 30 years of student debt, and force millions of single parents to leave a sick child at home alone because there's no daycare. By some estimates, the cutting of Biden's reconciliation bill in half leaves approximately $300 billion over 10 years for the climate, when we are on pace to spend $8 trillion more than that on the Pentagon. Will we care if we have more nuclear bombs than the other guy, if our planet is on fire in 30 years anyway? If the planet isn't worth fighting for, then the planet won't be worth living on. So what to do? How to take action, how to live our newly adopted eighth principle to accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. How do we work to ensure the continued existence of our shrinking Unitarian Universalist faith community, and perhaps more to the point, the survival of the United States experiment in democracy? One way is to support actions to allow our government to do what we want. Out with the filibuster, eliminate the Electoral College, 4 new permanent seats on the Supreme Court. Because when they made it 9 seats in 1869, we had only 39 million people in the country. We now have 333 million. Support the fight against eliminating voting rights. You the Vote, which Katie Boscoff supported us in last year, is doing that now. Support the SDOP, the San Diego Organizing Project, fighting racism and our policing. Join with our other UU cluster church activities in acting out our faith principle. workshop anti-racism books with other Summit Unitarians, Summitarians. These are all activities that the committee does virtually on Zoom. We are looking for help. Please join us on the second Sunday in November at 12:30 to help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rin, and thank you for all of your hard work. I'd like to now introduce Trish Ladd, our website coordinator. Morning, Trish.
Hi. Good morning. I am Trish Ladd, and I am chair of the media committee. And we do, our primary work is the website, but we also coordinate other social media. And so we take care of the e-news through Pam Kerr and events on the website calendar. And we post the monthly newsletter on the website as well. So we post the service information. So if you did go to the website and looked at the service to know kind of what was going on, you would find it there. We also update that information whenever we have a new audio or a release. Get the recording from the Zoom meetings, we post the sermon so that you can listen to it if you've missed it. And that's what we do. We're currently looking for a volunteer to help us out to spend about 4 to 5 hours per month. Technical skill is not required. If you can type an email, you can help us out. It's really that simple. And if you're willing, have an open mind to learn new things, we're happy to do to train you additionally. So if you can contact us through the contact form on the website. You can contact me directly. There is a post related to this in the news, the e-news that comes out every Thursday. My email is available there. And typically we meet every second Sunday of the month. And that's all I have. So please join me in helping out our website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trish. Thanks for being here. Let's listen to Jim Weed from the membership committee.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I'm Jim Weed, and along with Pam Williams, we're the co-chairs of the membership committee. So I'm going to start off by by sharing the mission statement of the committee, which is the mission of the membership committee is to lead the fellowship in promoting and maintaining a welcoming environment for members and visitors. And then we have some objectives to help us implement the mission statement. One of them is assure that visitors are greeted and welcomed. And one thing the committee will be doing is as we will be looking for people to be at the welcoming table as we open back up. We have a welcoming table for both members and visitors that will need people at. Guide newcomers to participation and membership. We just had a newcomers orientation last week, which was Zoom, and are planning for a new members ceremony in January, which we hope will be in person. Then we also try to connect visitors to members or committees that they might share interests with through a program called Buddy in a Job. And then the last one is kind of a catch-all. It's create a welcoming atmosphere and space for people to seek and find what they want from a spiritual committee. We are looking for 2 more members for the committee who would like to help us implement these objectives in the fellowship. Feel free to contact myself or Pam Williams for more information as to how you can help the committee. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Jim. If she's ready, Mary Carter Vale is another member of our church who could use some help.
Hi, as many of you know, I'm the Director of Religious Exploration, and usually this time of year, I have about 40 volunteers helping me and helping Kathy run 4 classrooms plus the nursery. And right now, I probably have about maybe 8 to 10 volunteers who've been helping out consistently, and other folks that are moving in and out of helping as we do parking lot RE. We're currently having all ages together. The hope is once we reopen, we'll start having more participation in the RE program, and we're going to need folks to volunteer who want to come and work with our children and youth or help me with projects. Our current big project we're working on right now is a parking lot Halloween carnival-like event for our families next weekend. So if you're interested in joining me, working with children, youth, and families at Summit, helping, you don't have to be a parent to do this. Please reach out, and because we're going to be, as we open up, getting our Children's Religious Exploration Committee, or circle as I like to call it, moving again. So this is how you can have input in what happens and help guide the work that I do. Thank you.
Thank you as always, Mary. Lastly, before we introduce our board for this year, we'd like to hear from Eleanor Weed, wearer of many, many hats in our congregation.
Thanks, Josh. One of the goals of the board this year is fellowship, growth, and engagement. There are a lot of unchurched people out there in our community who are looking for connection, especially now, and would feel quite at home with our type of non-dogmatic, deist and atheist welcome church. If only they knew about us. We would like to have an intentional, targeted social media campaign and are looking for people who are social media savvy who would like to help us by joining our media team. We have resources from the Pacific Western region of the UUA, so this team would not need to reinvent the wheel. If you're interested, please let me know, or Trish know as well. Over the past few months, we've had several worship services that sparked a lot of discussion. People wanted to explore ideas, or the books mentioned, more. We also have affinity groups that used to meet in pre-pandemic times, like the Humanist Discussion Group and the Poetry Writing Group. We are looking for a few people who would like to help find members who would like to be presenters for workshops and classes on a variety of themes, and who would like to advertise these events along with the affinity groups to the congregation. Zoom classes are great as there's no traffic and there's no nighttime driving. This is something I would like to do in the future when I'm no longer on the board. Right now, I just don't have the bandwidth. Yet I'd be happy to help get an adult religious exploration team started. Let me know if this is something you would like to help with. Both the adult education and social media teams can help our congregation grow, both personally and communally. It can also help our members and friends to become more engaged in our fellowship by getting to know new people in small groups. When advertised to the larger San Diego community, our classes can attract new people who are interested in the topic. They may come for the class and stay because they feel, as many of us feel, that they have found a spiritual home. If you would like to help with either of these new endeavors, please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eleanor. There is so much work to be done. I'd now like to introduce the Board of Directors for the 2021-2022 year. It's already been a time of some tumult and some change amongst the board, but I'd first like to introduce Serafina Galante, who has thankfully stepped in. Serafina, if you'd like to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, good idea. Hi, I'm Serafina Galante, and I did just join the board a few weeks ago, and I'm very happy to be part of it. Let's see, the reason I decided to do that is that I've been a member for a little bit, I've not been super active with committees. However, I got to a place where, and Mary's presentation really kind of connected to what I was going to say, which is the open mind part. I started feeling like I really wanted to use my mind in a particular way. So I was feeling motivated to look for something in our fellowship where I could put that mind, which fortunately is still working, knock on wood. And in addition, I also wanted to look for opportunities where that would be helpful to me as well as the fellowship. So I relate that to loving hearts and making a contribution, which I wanted to do. And then the final part was the welcoming hands that she talked about. And I see that as obligation in the very positive sense, where I see the obligation part as the positive part of a relationship. So what I'm feeling is that we've established a relationship, the fellowship and myself. And within that relationship, then I have a kind of, I know obligation has kind of a negative to it, but there's a very positive part of that, I feel, that gives me an opportunity to use my skills to make my voice heard, to let my ideas out, and to be part of a team that works for the whole. So that feels very positive, very exciting to me, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm looking forward to the year to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Serafina. It's nice to have you on the board. The next person that I was going to introduce was Sally Jackson, but because of a previous commitment, she could not be on a screen this morning. It's very nice to have Sally on the board, as she is the only other parent of younger children who sits on the board, and that's an important voice to have as our church grows, so it's nice to have her. Another person that I was going to introduce was another new board member, who is Dennis Reimer. Unfortunately, Dennis is in the hospital. We'll keep in our thoughts, and after the service at the community gathering, we can talk a little bit more about how Dennis is doing and how we can share cards in our thoughts with him. If Greg Williams is here, this is Greg Williams' second year on the board. Greg, are you there?
I'm here. So this is my second year on the board, and my 11th year in the church. And I became a board member. They called me up and asked, and I realized how hard it is, and we need volunteers. So I accepted it, and I've enjoyed my time as a board member. And that's it for me. So.
Thank you very much. Next board director is Yanni Peterson. Yanni, are you here this morning?
Yes, I am. Hi. So I'm Yanni Peterson. This is my second year on the board. And I apologize. My dog apparently wants to chime in with his thoughts on the board. Marcia, can you sit? Hopefully we get a bit of quiet. Being on the board, even or maybe especially during these pandemic times, has really given me a chance to become more connected with Summit and gaining insight into the workings. How are all these wonderful things that we have happening in our fellowship, how are they actually made possible? And in that connection, I have two requests for helping hands and showing your heart, how you can use your loving heart to help Summit. We are starting, or will be starting in the not too distant future, our generosity campaign. or pledge drive. To do that, I need someone to step up and volunteer to be the pledge chair and a pledge co-chair. We'll be happy to divide up the responsibilities. So what does the pledge chair do? Many of you are quite aware of what a pledge chair does. You have seen it over the years. The pledge chair coordinates a small group of pledge stewards to make sure that we contact the members of Summit to have them turn in the pledges. Mind you, as we have just spoken about, pledging can also be your time and your dedication to volunteer. We are aware of the strain pandemic has put on some of us. So talking about pledging does not only mean financial, even though if you're capable, we do need financial contributions to keep Summit going. The pledge chair is a cheerleader for this campaign and will guide us through it so that we reach our goal of being able to continue with Summit. So I hope someone will step up and take on the job as a pledge chair. There's plenty of support. There's plenty of directions to be had. You're not going to be starting from scratch. You're not going to be alone in this endeavor. So please step up and reach out to me if there's something that you would be interested in doing. In the same vein, we also need pledge stewards. Pledge stewards will be reaching out to Summit board members to have them turn in the pledge. This is helping hands that are reaching out and getting people to support the community and support our continuing operations. Shifting gears a bit, as some of you might remember, a few years ago, Summit had a tiny house. It was built and housed on the Summit grounds. It moved out of state and will now be brought back. Our plan is to sell it to use the proceeds for the continuing operation of Summit. My wonderful spouse, Daniel Hand, has been voluntold to help with the sale of the tiny house. And I would very much appreciate if someone would volunteer to help him so that we can get those commitments distributed. So let me know if you're willing to either become a pledge chair, a pledge steward, or if you're willing to help Dan arrange the sale of the tiny house when it arrives back in San Diego. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yanni, and thank you for all of your work on the board. Next, I'd like to introduce you to the treasurer of the board and another wearer of many hats in our congregation, Debbie Wingard.
Hello. Yes, I am Debbie Wingard, the treasurer. We joined Summit in 2004 while looking for a spiritual community that would support both of our gay sons. And we found that at Summit and have really appreciated being a member of this great community. In that time, I have participated in many committees, and it's definitely through those committees that I have met and learned about other members of Summit and developed some really great friendships. The committee that I probably participated with the most is the Finance Committee. And for those of you that are curious, the Finance Committee basically manages the financial health of the community by monitoring our expenses and income and creating budgets every year. The membership includes people with accounting experience, but it also includes people who like working with spreadsheets. And yes, there are some of us who do have fun working with spreadsheets. but other members of our committee are just comfortable with numbers, but really interested in helping keep our community financially sound. So I would like to welcome anyone who is interested in the financial health of the community to contact me if you're interested in helping out with the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie, and thank you for all of you do. I would be introducing Carol Schnellbelt right now, but she is out of state and was unavailable to be on screens this morning. So Carol Schnellbelt is the board's secretary. I'll introduce myself at this point. My name is Josh Barrett, and I am the vice president on the board. This is now my second year on the board. Last year, I was just a director and got my toes wet. And this year, I jumped in with both feet and into my waist. I am the vice president, and it is a satisfying learning experience. It really is. And I'm proud and happy to be on the board. And now I'd like to introduce the president of the board, Eleanor Weed.
Helps if I unmute. Good morning. As a raised you for decades, until her death 3 years ago at the age of 95, my mother modeled active volunteering in her churches and fellowships. To me, being a member of this congregation means I step up and help. It's what makes me feel connected to the community. I have been a member of Summit for almost 24 years. Most of those years were spent working with our families, children, and youth. I'm also the editor of the monthly Seen at Summit newsletter, and I send out the virtual orders of service each week. This year, I'm also the auction co-chair, or chair. This is my second year on the board, and it is my privilege to serve as your president this year. Our paid staff, like Linda, our office administrator, and Mark, our property steward, see to the business and upkeep of the fellowship. Reverend Everett, our minister, and Mary, our director of religious exploration, help with the spiritual life of our fellowship. It is up to all of us to bring our mission and vision to life. Our most visible volunteers right now are those who work to create their online worship services each week. The Sunday Service Committee that arranges for our wide variety of speakers, arranges the music, the Zoom team that makes our services possible, and our wonderful pianists, Karen and Barbara, and the service associates who, along with the speakers, breathe life into the services each week. And there is so much more that the fellowship than attending the services on Sunday mornings. More ways that we invite you to get involved. Even though we are mostly virtual right now, there is a lot that is still happening behind the scenes. And unless we are involved in those activities, we may not be aware of them, especially when we can't gather and chat with each other during coffee hour as we used to do. Some of these groups may or may not seem fun or glamorous to you, yet that does not make them any less vital to our fellowship. I want to invite you to find the place or places where you would like to give your gifts of time and talent to our fellowship. If you have never done something before, that's okay. Summit is a safe place to learn something new. It could be that volunteering with our children and youth is what resonates with you, helping our younger members learn about Unitarian Universalism and to explore what it means to live our values. Or working with other adults behind the scenes, planning the direction for the program and what we want our children and youth to learn. It could be by ensuring that we have the financial wherewithal to see the fellowship through another year by leading or being part of the team for our annual generosity campaign. Perhaps you're more interested in making our new visitors feel welcome and encouraging them to return. Or you might like to be one of those who reach out to those in our community who need a ride or a helping hand. It might be that you are more interested in helping to create small group settings where members and friends can explore ideas and UU values together by leading a class or a workshop or helping to coordinate the adult religious exploration program. Maybe you're interested in helping us articulate our vision for the next 5 years so that we have a community-created map to guide our fellowship's efforts. Perhaps social justice is working for social justice in the larger world is what provides you with sustenance. Our social justice and action team has a lot of ways for you to get involved. And don't forget to turn in your auction donation forms. We still need a lot more donations to have a successful community building fundraiser event in 3 weeks. You can find the link to the donation form in your virtual order of service and in the e-news. Please get your offerings in as soon as possible. There are many ways that you can be part of this fellowship to help us build a beloved community and to demonstrate our Unitarian Universalist values to the larger East County community. If you have focused on one area for years, perhaps you would like to try something new. Mix it up, find a new passion. If you're not sure what you would like to do, please ask me or any of the other board members or committee chairs who spoke today. We would be glad to help find the right place for you in our community. Thank you.